What's up, guys? My name is Devin, also known as FBE, and welcome back to another episode of Footballrs. In today's video, we're going to be unboxing and reviewing the Nike Vapor Edge 360 Speed 2. Alright guys, so here are the cleats. This is the unboxing part of this video. This is a different Nike box than we've seen in the past. It's a little bit different from the traditional orange and white. Here's a look at the tag, Nike Vapor Edge Speed 360 2.0 and an 8.5. I don't remember what color I got. I got all three at once. So it says here, this is a shoebox, but it's more than that. This is an all-in-one storage, shipping, and return box. That's kind of cool. So Nike's kind of helping reduce their carbon footprint here. Let's get into the cleats. So again, these are the Speeds. Ooh, we got them in blue. Wow, so this is my first time actually having these. I know we're a little bit late to the party, but it took us a while to actually get our hands on some, and they look pretty good. Wow. So this part of the video is the unboxing and first impression. Then later in the video, we will have the full in-depth review for you guys, kind of breaking down everything about the cleat. But let's just talk first impressions for now. All right, so right off the rip, these are incredibly similar to the Vapor Edge Speed 1s, which I actually have on hand for you guys. It's pretty much the same low-cut cleat, super lightweight. You do get that same dip in the heel part here, and then of course the same edge traction plate, which is one of the best traction plates on the market by far. The design is going to be a little bit different. We do have a big swoosh here, little swoosh here. It doesn't go into the base of the edge plate anymore, and then a couple other small details. But as far as like the actual build of the cleat, it is remarkably similar. There is a new addition of these kind of eyelets here. I'm not sure how they're connected or if it's really that much different from just having it in the actual upper here. Maybe it's a durability thing. I can't see it being any tighter, you know, doing that. So this tongue is going to be made of a different material. It is a little bit more thick. It's got a little bit more padding than this version here. This one was pretty much paper thin. You guys can see how thin that is. And this one, they've given it a little bit of padding, which is nice. It definitely feels soft. It's gonna feel a lot better on the top of your foot than this did. When you lace these up, it kind of presses that tongue into the top of your foot. It's gonna feel nice. These are the same laces. The laces themselves are the same as last year. It does seem like it might be a little bit wider. What do you guys think? Let me look. Maybe not. Maybe I'm seeing things. I don't know. Let me know. Well, I mean, we'll know once we try them on. The actual cutout of the upper is a little bit different. You guys can kind of see it's got cuts here, here, and on the side. So when it tightens up, it doesn't kind of bunch up the material. It's ready for it to be tightened up like that. This one was kind of just super straight, you know, no cuts, no, I want to call them relief cuts, kind of like just helps so the material doesn't bunch up. Let's check out the padding in the heel. It looks to be the same amount. You've got kind of these two thick foam, like Achilles pads on the side here. I think these were on the original. Oh no, they weren't. So this one was more of like a bar. You guys can see that, right? It was more like a bar across, like a line. And then this one is more like these little circular-ish pods. So a little bit different there. I can't imagine it's gonna feel too much different. Make sure the insoles are the same. You guys know I love checking the insoles. These are stiff. Are they always this stiff? It's been a while since we reviewed a Nike football cleat, I'm not gonna lie. This is their first cleat in a while. Just wanna see if they were as stiff. Yeah, okay. So it's gonna be the same. So it is the exact same insole on the new 2.0s as the 1.0, so they didn't change that. They still have kind of this inner grid shank, so that grid shank is going to give it that snappiness, and then the back of this insole actually kind of snaps into that. You guys can kind of see how they fit together right there. The actual upper feels pretty much the same. It's still that thick, you know, TPU material. It's plenty flexible, but it is a different texture, I guess. This texture is just a little bit different, but it's the same material, I think. Honestly, I think this is pretty much the same cleat with some minor tweaks, which could be good or bad depending on, you know, how it performs on the field. Super excited to try that out, you know, later in today's video. We do actually have some foam in here as well. Can you guys see that ridge? Yeah, you can. Also, the material of the liner is different. This one is like a finer material, and then this one is a little bit more porous. You see a little bit more holes, and it's got more of a texture to it as well. I am really excited about this tongue because it just feels a lot wider and a lot softer on the top of your foot. This one, it looked good, but like it was super thin. And you did get some mesh down here. How's the mesh down here? So it's the same material all the way through the tongue. Of course, again, all your questions will be answered in the review, hopefully. If they're not, feel free to comment. But overall, pretty much the same cleat. You do still have a heel loop. These have a heel loop. No, they don't. Hang on. These have no heel loop. These have a heel loop. These are 10 times better now. These are the best cleat in football. Just kidding, guys. You guys know I love heel loops. It just helps so much when slipping the cleat on. And this cleat does look like it has like a wide mouth to get your foot in. Yeah, I swear it's a little bit, just a little bit more. Like I think this is a little bit wider, a little bit softer, a little bit more comfortable. This one I think weighs a little bit less. We'll weigh these in the full review. Just to talk about the design real quick, this is their blue colorway. Let me see the actual name for you guys really quick. These are the Game Royal and White, pretty classic Nike colorway, Royal. So you've got mostly blue, white little detail here, and then the white swoosh with the black outline. You have the white lace loops right here on each side. Then you have that same weird kind of white block design on the inside of this one, and another bigger swoosh kind of more towards the center of your foot so you guys can see it. There's no angle on this cleat where you don't see a swoosh. I think that's kind of what they go for. No matter what, you know, you're gonna see a swoosh somewhere, even this little subtle one on the side of the edge plate. Just to compare the swoosh placement, you guys can see this one is a lot bigger and a lot more visible than this one. That was kind of like a traditional medial one. This one kind of wraps around to the toe box. Another thing I like is this subtle vapor detail right there on the tongue. Little Nike swoosh kind of off to the side, looks really nice. And then you kind of have this like stitched baby blue stitch that kind of goes through. I'm not sure why they made it baby blue. It doesn't really match the rest of the cleat. And I'm not sure, does it serve a purpose? So I'm not sure if this stitching is functional or not. It looks like it might be holding these two top pieces together, but it's kind of impossible to really tell without, you know, cutting into the cleat, which we've done before. And then of course down here is where the two materials meet as well, and they're stitched up down there as well. This part down here is definitely a lot tougher than up here. It looks like they have some sort of overlay or something added to the material down there. And this one was the same as all the way around. It basically looks like they took this cleat and just kind of refined it. They just kind of worked out everything and gave it a much more complete feel. I do think I like the looks of this one better. It's definitely more streamlined. It looks more like a speed football cleat. This one just looks like a, you know, a complete cleat, if you know what I'm saying. Also, not a huge fan of the colors of this traction plate. I'm not sure where the gray kind of plays into this blue and white theme, or even the black. Honestly, this whole traction plate, if it was white, it would look a whole lot better, but I don't design cleats at Nike, what do I know? But overall, you got the same traction plate here, a little bit of a tweaked design here. You've got some different cutouts in the actual upper, a thicker, wider tongue, a wider spot to get your foot in. The padding has been tweaked a little bit. You still get some side padding here, and then these heel pods we talked about earlier. This year has the addition of the heel loop, and then that's pretty much it. Nothing too crazy here. Let's get on to the full review. If you guys are new to the channel or just need a quick refresher about what we cover in these reviews, here's what we're going to cover. Comfort, fit and support, the weight of the cleat, the traction, the style and looks of the cleat, what position these cleats are going to be best for, and lastly, the price. We're going to start things off with the comfort of the Nike Vapor Edge 360 Speed 2. The comfort of these is honestly kind of middle of the road in the terms of all of the cleats on the planet, but it is a whole lot better than the Vapor Edge 360 Speed 1. Also, just a warning, we are going to be comparing the new 2s to the original 1s a lot throughout this video. These cleats are super raw feeling football cleat, but they did add some added comfort features that are going to make this cleat feel a whole lot better than the originals. The tongue on this new model is thicker and it's softer, and it feels a lot better on the top of your foot when you lace these cleats up nice and tight. They have also slightly altered the padding in the heel. In the past, it was kind of like a bar of foam. These are kind of going back to Nike Speed Cleat roots, and they're like these little soft pods, and the padding is a lot thicker. These pods kind of surround your Achilles, and it just feels really nice on the back of your foot. This model had much thinner padding in the heel, so it just didn't feel as nice as these new ones. The insole on these is the exact same one that we've seen on the Nike Vapor Edge since they dropped back in 2020. As you guys can see, it's a super thin insole, so you're not going to get a lot of cushion, not going to get a lot of rebound out of this. It's a very thin insole that does not provide a lot of cushion, and then the plastic shank that runs underneath is super duper stiff. Also, these cleats did add a heel loop on the back. They weren't super hard to get into before, but I love a good heel loop. Overall, these are still a really raw feeling speed football cleat. They're not super duper comfortable, but they are a lot more comfortable than the original model. The next thing we're going to talk about is the fit and support. Along with the comfort we just talked about, Nike has improved the fit and support on these a ton. The actual shape of the cleat and the size of the toe box is about the same as the original, so if you guys got a size in that cleat, get the same size in this cleat. Again, we already talked about it, but Nike did revamp this heel padding a little bit. It's a little bit thicker, and now it's pod shaped, which just feels a little bit better on the sides of your Achilles. Along with that extra padding, Nike also added this unique eyelet at the very top of the shoe. This eyelet is known as the racer's loop, and it's very common among running shoes. If you guys use this extra eyelet correctly and tie it up the right way, it's going to give you some serious heel lockdown and feel even better than before. And that's something we did not get on the originals. They also added some extra eyelets towards the bottom of the cleat, so that is these white things you guys kind of see here. These white eyelets kind of go to the base of the cleat underneath the upper. You guys can't really see, but it's really similar to Nike's Flywire technology. It's pretty much the same thing. So when you tug these laces nice and tight, it's going to pull up the sides of the cleat and give you a nice snug fit around your foot. Lastly, for support, these really don't have much at all. They are a low cut speed football cleat, so there's obviously no ankle support because there's no material there. And overall, they're a pretty bare bones raw football cleat. The next thing we're going to talk about is the weight of these cleats. These cleats weigh in at 10.1 ounces in a size 8.5, so if you guys have a bigger size, it's going to weigh a little bit more. These cleats are a bit heavier than the originals, and that's likely due to the thicker tongue, the added padding in the heel, and then the overall thicker overlays throughout the cleat. Still, 10.1 ounces is pretty light for a skilled football cleat, but it's not as light as some of the skilled cleats from Adidas and Under Armour. The next thing we're going to talk about is the traction. Now, we've talked about the edge plate on this channel probably 5 or 6 times by now, and we're going to do it a couple more for the Pro and the Elite reviews, but it's still one of the best in football. The edge plate debuted in 2020. It's a 2-piece construction. You've got the forefront plate and the heel plate. These studs are at the outermost parts of your foot. These are the edge studs. So when you go to cut, that's the first thing hitting the dirt so you guys can get in and out of cuts quickly. The plate on this is also super stiff and snappy, and that's due to that plastic shank we talked about earlier. Kind of runs throughout the entire length of the cleat. It does give you a little bit of spring with each step, so it kind of makes you feel like you're running a little bit quicker. Overall, you guys know I love this traction plate. It's easily one of the best on the market in my opinion, and it's perfect for skilled football players. The next thing we're going to talk about is the style of this cleat. I honestly think Nike took a step back on the design with these cleats. I understand they refined a lot of the cleat to make it fit better and feel better on foot, but I think it just kind of looks a little bit worse than the original model. Look how amazing and streamlined this looks. This cleat is full of different textures and all these overlays all over the place. My pair has these white shapes on the outside and inside of the cleat. Then there's some teal stitching that kind of wraps around the side. And the tongue itself, just as a unit, does not look as good as it does on the OGs. I think there's just too much going on to this cleat, and when you guys put them side by side, I think it's clear this one is just a much cleaner looking silhouette. But to be fair, I think I bought one of the worst colorways of these. This blue and black and white and gray is not as clean as some of the other ones out there. Dick's Sporting Goods has 10 different colorways available, and a lot of them look much, much cleaner than this. The next thing we're going to talk about is what position these cleats are best for. These right here are a skill football cleat through and through. They're built with speed and agility in mind and best for QBs, running backs, wide receivers, and defensive backs. They're relatively lightweight, perfect for quick cuts, and they have minimal support all around, everything you kind of want in a skill cleat. The next thing we're going to talk about is the price. These cleats retail for $100. These are the lowest tier option in the Nike Vapor Edge line. You have the Speeds at 100, the Pros at 120, and then the Elites all the way up at 200, but these are easily the best value. These are easily the best cleat you guys can get for $100, hands down. There's not really much else at this price point. There's no real quality football cleats for $100. Also, as we talked about, Nike added tons of different overlays and extra stitching to make sure this cleat is pretty durable, so you guys should get a lot of life out of these. Overall, Nike has taken the original Nike Vapor Edge 360 Speed and refined it to make it fit better and be more comfortable in a better overall football cleat. The cleat is a tad heavier and it does look a little bit worse than the original, but for $100, you can't really beat it. It's a high-performing football cleat with one of the best traction plates in the game, and you guys are going to see this on tons of NFL guys this fall. There you guys have it. There's the full unboxing and review on the Nike Vapor Edge 360 Speed 2. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, like this video, comment what you guys want to see us review next, and subscribe for more videos just like this one. My name is Devin, also known as FBE, and thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of Footballers. Whoop-ah!